welcome back. It is Angelic Ray coming to you at Angelic Soul 11. I want to say happy Friday. So I am driving, so obviously I'm not going to be keeping my eyes on the screen the whole entire time. However, I wanted to talk about plant medicines, and that is a term that I feel like it is misunderstood at times, and so I wanted to bring about my interpretation of what plant medicine is and how can it help you in your life. And so there's many different rounds and dimensions to everything. There's two sides of the same coin, to everything. And so I'm going to touch on the same thing with plant medicine. I may have to bring up my windows so you can hear me better. And I'm going to give it time for people to join us. And I'm so excited. So pretty much I want to break down some of the dynamics of plant medicine. And for me, my interpretation, as stated, what is plant medicine? Hello, welcome. So, plant medicine to me is any type of plants that you work with in a very sacred way. Okay, this can be in regards to it being in a sacred ceremony, in a sacred setting, or even just you putting in, divine intentions into the plants. Plant medicine can be from tea to smoking to smudging. Anytime that you are working with a plant, whether it is planting and growing, you are connecting with the life source of that plant and connecting with the spirit of that plant. Those for their beneficial properties, or any type of properties actually, because some people use plant medicine not necessarily for the benefit of someone's greater good, but for other properties, the attributes of that plant, right? So a lot of the times you'll hear plant medicines, and people may be talking about like ayahuasca. They may be talking about hape, mapacho, like different forms of mapacho, which hape is a form of mapacho, sacred tobacco, right? But there's so many different breeds of tobacco itself. And then marijuana, hemp in general, so sage, mugwort, dandelions, you name it, and it's a plant, you are connecting with that plant spirit. Once you start connecting with the plant spirit in a conscious way of integrating that plant spirit with your spirit, you are now channeling and tapping into the realms of the plants, of the earth, and the earth spirits. Here, there's a truck, so I have to be mindful. I am driving, and I am just got on the highway. Please give me a moment. So, one moment. There we go. All right, cool. I had a call coming in at the same time. So, the most common when you hear plant medicine, especially nowadays, it has become very trendy in a sense, but it's not something to be taken lightly. In fact, I don't think any type of plant medicine should be taken lightly. This is because the plant works in a very beautiful, majestic way to really give you what it is that you need in your body, in your mind, and your spirit to integrate into your DNA to become more closer to source, to your God self. So some may even include mushrooms as plant medicine, or even animal medicine, such as something like Cambo as plant medicine, or not just Cambo, Patron. That's funny. The toad. Oh, what is your name? I can't think of it right now. I'm sorry. So, thinking, right? I'm gonna use rosemary as an example, right? I'll get into the ayahuasca in a moment, but rosemary, if I was to incorporate rosemary into a plant ceremony with me as a form of plant medicine, I can use it for aromatherapy. I can brew it as a tea. I can use it as an essential oil, right? And there's different ways you could apply it onto your body. It is still plant medicine. You can drink it as a tea. And rosemary has properties that can help a person increase their memory cells up by 70%. So it's good. Again, I'm not a medical practitioner, so this is not medical advice. This is just my opinion. But if you have any medical conditions, go see your primary care doctor. Just gotta put that out there. But I'm gonna spit some real stuff in accordance to my beliefs, okay? And so rosemary can help a person. Let's say you are a student, you in college, or just maybe you have children and they may have difficulties studying or remembering what it is that they are studying. Okay, you can the smelling, so you can use it as a form of aromatherapy. Putting it in like a diffuser, or getting the actual plant itself, using it as an essential oil where they can, you rub it on their temples, on their crown, and maybe just a little bit by the nostrils so that they can smell it. And this will definitely increase their memory. This will bring you more focus, okay? And that is working with plant medicine. You put in the intentions of what it is that you want from the plant. You do your research on every plant. What are the properties of that plant? How can I use it? How much can I use? Like to use as far as like a dosage, right? The same way we would use other type of medicines, you would use, there's certain dosage. You want to use a certain amount to apply into the practice, so that you reap those benefits of what it is that you are putting in your intentions. And so you will do that. Or if you don't know, then you go to maybe like your local herbalist, or you seek herbal counsel, someone that is very well acquainted with how plants work, on a medicinal level, on a holistic level. Hello, goddess. Yeah, you see, I'm driving now, so I'm gonna do it now instead of doing it later. So that's why I brought up rosemary, because not only the memory thing, like I said, I couldn't remember that plant, right? Or the toad. However, you could also use rosemary for like protection, cleansing as a smudge. So I know the most common type of smudges people use is white sage, and there's a lot, white sage at this point it's not near extinction just yet, but it's on the verge. And it was once known to just simply be sacred to the indigenous natives of this land, and it is a very powerful herb, okay? for smudging, and for many for cooking. You can use even rosemary for cooking. All these plants, you can use them in many different ways and incorporate it in a magical way where you put it with the intention of what it is that you are seeking out of the spirit from that plant. And you connect with the spirit. You build a relationship with the spirit so that you and that spirit grow closer together and really harmonize what it is that you are looking to bring harmony to, what it is that you are trying to direct the energy towards. So you can use it as a smudge for purification in the home as opposed to just sage, because rosemary is a bit more common to find. It's not on the extinction list, and it's just as powerful. In fact, it has specific properties that can really not only dispel but actually remove and break through the negative entities and energies. And so that's one. Another one is maybe lavender, right? You can use lavender as a form of plant medicine, whether it's in a tea or a smudge or an oil, and really just allow it to bring, they used it in many different ways, right? So some people use it to draw in love. Some people use it to draw in money, and like maybe like in a sexual way. Back then there was a story, it used to be they would slut shame females who used rosemary, because they would use it, a lot of like sex workers would use rosemary to attract that the masculine energy, because they weren't accessible to showers and baths as we are, have that luxury now as opposed to back then. And so they wanted to keep their hygiene clean and just smelling good, so they would rub like rosemary oil on their body, and they would draw in the masculine energy so that they could bring in the spirit of prosperity and abundance and fortune and have money coming their way. And it was very hypnotic to men. So people use it in sex magic and tantra. But again, it's not necessarily for slut shaming, and I don't like that that's what it's known for, but that's part of the history, right? So I share that. However, you can use this even for like sex magic with yourself or with a partner, and it doesn't have to be anything of slut shaming, but rather embracing and taking things on to the next level. Maybe just being a little bit more creative, being that it reduces the tension and the stress on the person as well. It allows for more openness, right? Or even to just bring in the sensuality, or even self-love. And again, it also helps dispel depression a little bit as well, because it's such a high vibrational, and it's also known for purification rites, because it's so high vibrational. It like connects with like the crown chakra. Hola everyone. And so rosemary is something that you can use. You could even use all these plants. You could even use them as a floor wash if you chose as well, not just like tea, or like, let's say you can't really smudge, but you want to bring in a certain energy and you can't do too much like aromatherapy. You can use it as a floor wash, or even just create a water wash with them and use it to clean your furniture. And that is working with plant medicine as well. You put your intentions into it and what it is that you are seeking to draw in from that plant, right? And not only that, but if you use these plants in a deep meditative space, the plant itself will tell you what type of medicine they have for you. They can bring you to different realms and dimensions in your psyche. Okay, they will stimulate and trigger. Even like roses. You ever heard the saying, wake up and smell the roses? Because it literally creates an effect in the brain where it attunes you to a certain frequency that will eliminate the lower vibrations and bring you to that higher state of consciousness. That is a form of plant medicine. You can also smoke these herbs as well. So some people, maybe they smoke marijuana and they just want to maybe reduce smoking marijuana, or they just feel like they've become addicted to it. These other herbs can help break addiction to even smoking, where eventually you may not even smoke marijuana anymore, or it may decrease, or you might not smoke any type of plant herbs at all, because your connection with the plants will elevate with time to a space where you may not want to even like chief them down, burn them down, toke it down, whatever you want to call it, you know. I am on the highway, so please bear with me for everyone that's just coming in here. And so that's another way. I personally like doing different blends. Even like if you let's say you wanted to do something to expand the lungs and open up the lungs, and you're a smoker, you can mullein is so good. It actually is used to open up the lungs, and again, it doesn't give you that certain high as marijuana does. So for some people, it doesn't matter if they smoke indica or sativa, they just kind of get like this paranoia. Do you know, even working with the CBD oil, you are working with plant medicine, okay? You are working with an aspect of the plant, not just the THC aspect of the plant. And so there's a lot of medicinal properties with CBD, with mullein, and let's see, so ayahuasca. And again, these the same way. So ayahuasca can open you up into so many different realms and dimensions, and it's highly recommended that you do it with a skilled shaman who is versed with the realms and dimensions and cleansing and purification. Of course, you know, we're in 2020 and we like to do things our way, and you know, it's not always about the traditional way and everything like that. However, you know, certain plants have they have a certain energy to them, and different realms that they connect with, that they will mess you up. For example, like the datura. For those of you that like maybe poisonous plants, the datura is used in plant medicine as well. But the datura can kill a person. You can literally die. In fact, they used to work with the datura plant medicine to create poisons to kill people, okay, back in the day. And so you have to be really mindful, because plants have a way of being very loving and kind, and some have a way of being very hypnotic and influential, but they may not necessarily have the most benevolent spirit to them. Some nature spirits have mischievous spirits to them, you know, and that's just their natural nature. So they don't find nothing wrong in what it is that they do. You're the only one that finds something wrong with what it is that they do. They just living in their natural rites of passage, right? And you are tuning into their frequency to join into a holy matrimony, if you will, to go through a rites of passage with that plant. I know I might sound like super extra to some of y'all, but this is a very real realm and dimension that is super magical, super beautiful. You can use them even like working with berries and fruits and all of that. It goes into many different ways. And so that's the same way you could incorporate maybe like an apple or some berries, or even just like the leaves you can do plant medicine with. For example, some people use like soursop leaves to make a tea, and this can help with like certain cancers here. This can help. Did I pass my exit? I really hope I did not. But nonetheless, all is well in the world. So, in my world at least, right? And if you're in it, then I guess all is well in your world. So, they use it for different, or even, so ayahuasca, it can really tune your chakras, and all these plants have an activation to your chakra system and the nadi system and your subtle body just as much as it does your physical body and your spiritual body. So it really does connect with mind, body, spirit when you are working with any type of plants, okay, or leaves, herbs. They're all connected to plant medicine. Let's see, dandelion root. Ayahuasca is known in ceremony to really take you to dimensions where it has a form of DMT in it. Well, the ayahuasca itself is not a hallucinogen, but they incorporate other plants in the blend that they brew together to bring out DMT properties. So you could actually connect with the spirit of ayahuasca just by being around it, or even just connecting with the ayahuasca tree vine, the ayahuasca plants, without actually tapping into its DMT, because we naturally produce DMT in us as well. And I didn't pass my exit. Cool. Because they're doing construction on the highway that I'm on, so things been shifting from one day to another. But anyway, as is the world, right? So, and that's what plant medicines do. They will shift you from one space to another. You know, I personally like to work with plants in many different ways. You could incorporate plants in cooking to, some people would like even do spells in their food for either healing or for attracting or whatever. And so there's an infinite amount of ways that you can work with different plants here. Let me see. So in smudging, connecting with it, with or without the DMT, you can do so in deep meditation. And if you know how to activate your natural DMT, you can go further with any plant. You can go and activate your rainbow body, even just smoking some marijuana. You can connect with your spirit guides. You can connect with your highest self. You can connect with God, Goddess. That's fine, love. Thank you for coming in. And so that's just what I wanted to say in regards to plant medicine. If y'all have any questions, feel free to either put it on the chat, or there should be a box down below where it gives you the option to ask a question. Let me see here. What was another? Mugwort's also good for, like, let's say if you are trying to tap into the astral realm, for dream work. Some people even use it to go in and out of different dimensions via dream work, to do healing work, or even plant certain seeds. So like, even if you've seen like the movie Inception, they drank a potion to sleep a little bit longer, and then they went down into the dream realms and different dimensions and stuff. You could incorporate, if you know what it is that you are doing, you can incorporate these plants to do these things. Some plants bring in, let's see, like goldenrod or basil. I was gonna say like elderberry. People know like elderberry syrup in a sense. You could even, like, some plants like the angelica plants, and the flower and the roots connects with like Archangel Michael. So if you want to connect with certain archangels, you can find out what plants work with them. In fact, each plant has a certain element connected to them, a certain planet or star system that they are connected to. And so once you do your research and you connect with the star system in which this plant is, you can now utilize it in working with astrology, astronomy, and working with divination. There's so many ways to work with plant medicine. You can use it to divine tea. You can use it to remove a hex, remove a curse out of someone's life. You can use it to do a cleansing bath, a spiritual bath. You can use it to even just grow in your garden and keep certain spirits around you. Hey, thank you. Hola, hola. So definitely, if you feel drawn to a specific plant a lot, or you just really like, maybe you just always smelling a certain plant, or you have a quote unquote favorite plant, or just being drawn to a plant but you're not sure why, start looking into it. Expand your mind. Be open-minded to what the spirit of the plant is. Meditate with it. Even let's say if you have any diagnosis. Now, I'm not telling anybody to just jump off your medication or this, that, and the third, because I'm not going to do that. But I personally, I don't like using Western medicine. I do not. Once upon a time, I was under many medications, and it wasn't until I had to learn what was in those medications. Why plants? Because they add extra chemicals into these plants, but plants in itself have their own chemicals, and this is where they get the medicine from. They just incorporate other things into it, which then not only can treat what it is that you are trying to treat, but then it could also cause another issue to arise, other symptoms to arise. And so you don't have to go through that hassle if you really like connect with a herbalist that knows what they're talking about. They've done this in back in Kemet, ancient Egypt, for those of you that don't know what Kemet is, in Hinduism and Chinese medicine. So there is a plethora of information out there available to you where you can look, just Google if you have certain medications, if you've been, suffering from something your whole life. And, sea moss is a type of plant medicine from the ocean, a seaweed, and again, like, maybe there's certain addictions you want to stop, and maybe you don't necessarily want to smoke it, but you can burn it on a charcoal or as a smudge, as a oil in an oil diffuser. Rub it on you. Of course, if it's applicable, to put it on your skin, because some plants, they're external only. Some can be used internal. Some can be used topical. So you really have to do your research and find out how you can connect with the plants. But a lot of the times we hear plant medicine, and right away people just assume, oh, this girl is always doing psychedelics and this and that. And then, yeah, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe it's just this person is so in tune with nature that they know how to connect with even different plants that don't have hallucinogenic properties. And then there's many other plants. For example, the Tura has hallucinogenic properties as well. And again, some people will mushrooms are a whole other kingdom themselves, but some people will integrate mushrooms as a plant medicine. I would say mushroom is mushroom medicine, because there's many different breeds of mushrooms that are both psychedelic and non-psychedelic. psychedelic but do have medicinal properties to them. So like, you know, reishi is not necessarily a psychedelic, but it has medicinal properties to them. And then even like maybe, you know, for some people, according to their genetics, too much mushrooms can be harmful to their DNA, you know, because it's a type of fungus. And for other people, they need it. You know, they might need some portobello in their system more. So there's many different ways. At this point, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but I was trying to give many different examples so that a person can, you know, maybe you have issues with insomnia and you know, want to incorporate maybe the mugwort as a tea or lavender as a tea, or maybe, you know, like dandelion root or chamomile as a tea. Some people also use them for reproduction, you know, or even I did a live with the beautiful yoni steam of Memphis, and, you know, for yoni steam medicine. And again, men can use this too. This is not just for women, this is for even children. Can do different forms of plant medicine, where sometimes we just think, you know, oh, you gotta be a witch now because I made some peppermint tea and you had a stomach ache and you no longer have a stomach ache or whatever. Like, maybe you just needed to kick it with the spirit of mint for just a moment, which, by the way, sage is part of the mint family, the salvia. And so there's many different ways you could incorporate mint, peppermint